I'm so excited you tuned in. When you're seeing this video, it will be the day after Mother's Day. And so I hope that your Mother's Day was restful and it was relaxing. But I also hope that Mother's Day is not the only time that you get to relax. Because in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 5 ways that you can avoid the burnout as a mom. Stay tuned and you will get to hear those tips. Hi, my name is Melissa and this is Strutgirl Homeschool, and every week here I share videos on tips, hacks, and ideas for considering and new homeschoolers, things that I wish I would have known and things that I figured out over the 6+ years that I've been homeschooling, and also ideas on how to balance it all as we all ask, life, work, and homeschooling. How do we do it all? And obviously I haven't figured it out. I don't think any of us have all of the answers, but I on this channel share what I have figured out and what I think I'm doing kind of okay. So if that intrigues you or excites you, please consider subscribing to my channel. So first tip, I may ruffle some feathers with this one, but my first tip is self-care. Now, when I say self-care, I do not mean the trendy, prideful way that you've probably heard about self-care, getting your hair done, getting your nails done, and glamorizing yourself and all of these things. That's fun, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not here to condemn anybody who wants to do that to enjoy themselves or who makes them feel good about themselves. There's nothing wrong with those things. However, self-care is personal. So after you've done things that truly refresh you, truly fills up your cup, what I do is I make a list of those things, and those are the things that I try to gravitate to when I feel like I need to be refreshed and I need a pick-me-up. So for me, those things are studying the Bible, listening to music, stretching, getting outside, taking a walk, going to live concerts and symphonies, theater. For you, make it personal and make time to have self-care that will actually refresh and rejuvenate you. I know for me, getting my hair done is great, but it's very temperamental. Obviously, the minute it rains or whatever the case may be, when you think about the upkeep of taking care of your hair, sometimes that can feel like extra stress. So I don't know about you, but that it refreshes me but for a moment. But doing other things that actually fill my cup, and especially if you're a Christian girl like I am, spending time with God will definitely fill up your cup. So self-care is my first tip. Tip number 2 is to prioritize time for rest. So what do I mean by that? We can say that we're going to take care of ourselves and avoid the burnout, but if we don't actually prioritize rest, meaningful rest, and taking things slow, then we won't have it. As moms, our days are filled with busyness of homeschooling, taking care of our home management, and maybe working if you're anything like me. And so we have to make sure that we prioritize and tell ourselves when and how we're going to actually rest. We know that biblically Jesus promotes resting. He did it himself, and if it was good for him, then it's definitely good for us. Tip number 3 is to be intentional and in the moment with whatever you're doing. So when you're homeschooling, when you're reading a book to your children, just really be engrossed in the moment and full belly laugh with your kids and enjoy the story that you're in and envelope yourself in the environment that you are actually experiencing. When you're working, put your head down and try to work. Now, I know some of you are probably thinking, and I would be thinking if I heard this tip as a mom, how the heck am I going to do that when I have a lot of little hands running around and so on and so forth. So obviously we can't always do this, right? We live in a day and age of multitasking. However, if you can work when your kids are sleeping, or if you can schedule time to homeschool and turn off your phone or silence it, take those moments to just be intentional and mindful about the things that you're doing when you're doing it, so that you're not overwhelmed with the many places that our minds can go when we're doing something. And I believe that leads to burnout, when our minds are split in multiple different directions and we're trying to literally section the different categories of our lives in our brain while we're doing the one thing. Be fully intentional and in the moment while you're doing it. Okay, tip number 4 is something that's really hard for me, and I call it embracing the no. Okay, my husband always gets on me about this, and this is something that I am working on myself, and that is being okay with saying no to all of the things and the opportunities and the experiences that can come. I am one that is very guilty of wanting to go to all the trips, all the vacations, do all of the different programs, and so on and so forth, serve and lead in all of these different capacities. But you are one person. I am one person. And so we cannot split ourselves. I wish we could. If I could, I would. But we cannot split ourselves into multiple people. So we have to be mindful of where we give our yeses, and know that if we give our yeses to one area, we're giving our nos to other areas that are more important. So our home and our homeschool should be our first priority after God, and giving our time to our church. So if those things come ahead of that, then we have to reassess our yes and be okay with embracing the no. 5th tip is to eat the frog. Now, you've probably heard this tip before because there's an actual book called Eat the Frog, and I honestly have not read the book yet. It is on my wish list, but the tip and the reminder to do so is very, very clear. It's just a great tip, right? It's a catchy title, and I often tell my kids, eat the frog. So the thing that is the most burdensome for your day, for your week, for your month, try to get that out of the way first, so that you do not have that stressor looming in your head of what's to come. That anticipation can often lead to extra stress and burnout. Some ideas that I do is, when I get up in the morning and start to homeschool my kids, if I can, I try to put on breakfast, and while I'm cooking breakfast, I try to throw dinner into a crock pot or an air fryer so that it's ready to go. My kids usually make their own lunch, so that's not something that I worry too much about in our house. But for breakfast, I'll get that started, and then dinner is already ready to go. So by the time I'm already feeling the burn of the day, meals are done for the day. Another tip is to start homeschooling, starting with the subject that is your least favorite to teach. Doing the subject that is the most burdensome to you can be a way that you eat the frog. Maybe another way to eat the frog is for you to throw in a load of laundry as soon as you wake up, so that you know that you're eating away at that pile of laundry that is sure to loom over you for the rest of the week. Another tip could be put your outfits out for you and your kids. And when you know that you have events planned out and activities for the week, put those outfits out so you don't have to stress and worry about looking for them the day before, the day of, and again, avoid that looming stress and burnout. Okay, so those are my 5 tips for how to avoid homeschool mom burnout, and I hope they were helpful for you. If they were, please subscribe and comment. In the near future, I have some cool videos planned. I will be talking to you guys about what I would be doing, and also some things that I have done when my children were in pre-K, K, and first grade. So for those of you that are homeschooling very littles, I have some tips for you in the upcoming video. I also will be interviewing my middle schooler and my high schooler on their views of homeschooling. So a lot of fun videos planned. Whether you have kids of multiple different ages, Hopefully I'll have something for you. Leave a message in the comments if you have any ideas of videos that you like for me to post.